What's going on, everybody? Let's Talk Jets Radio. The Jets get a very ugly win tonight. Ultimately, there's no style points when you're 2-6. You take the wins any way you could get them. But the first half of that game was beyond frustrating. The first drive with Rodgers, going after Devontae Adams twice. One play where Adams didn't even look at him. Another play where he was open down the field. He missed him. He had another deep ball to Mike Williams where they misconnected. It just seemed like his timing was off. He was a sitting duck in the pocket at times. And then something just changed in the second half. We saw a little bit of the old school Rodgers, a little bit more mobility, some nice shots down the field, the ridiculous catch from Garrett Wilson. So a lot of guys stepped up, and ultimately, I mean, you saved your season from the sense that you kept your season alive for another week, because at 2-7, you're ultimately talking about needing to run the table, win 8 straight games, and even then, you might need some help at 10-7. Depending on the tiebreak situation. So, being 3-6 obviously is nothing to celebrate or anything like that. Especially when you have plays like Malachi Corley, a nice play by Downing as far as play design. And then, instead of just walking right into the end zone, he fumbles the ball short of the goal line. Just a ridiculous mistake that should never happen. Honestly, he shouldn't have seen the field again after that. You understand that mistakes happen, but something like that, especially when your offense is struggling the way they've been, like the Jets shouldn't be looking at celebrating or trying to make anything look fancy. Like, just get into the end zone, take the points, on to the next play. A lot of things that were very frustrating early on. Sauce on the one drive right after that. I'm pretty sure he had the one penalty where he fell down. The guy tripped over him. Had at least 2 or 3 plays where he was kind of getting dragged trying to make a tackle, or he missed the tackle altogether. Then he gave up the big third down, I think inside the 5, which set up the touchdown. So a lot of things that are still very concerning with the team. You got both your guards that are injured, although credit to Max Mitchell and Fashanu for stepping up, playing guard when they've never really done that before. I know they've had a few practices there, but at the same time, as far as game reps, that's not something that they've really done, especially for Fashanu as a rookie. I know he had the one holding. Overall, though, I felt he was solid. Second half, you go on 3 straight drives where you score touchdowns. You can't really nitpick at certain things. Ultimately, they were able to move the football in spite of some of that adversity. So you give credit where it's due. I enjoyed legitimately seeing smiles on guys' faces. I know they haven't earned it based on what they've shown up until this point. There's still a lot to be concerned about with this team, as well as just proving that they can handle success, that they can actually build off this win and not go to Arizona next week and lay another egg, which is something that historically the Jets have done. Once they give you that little bit of, a glimmer of hope that they might be starting to turn things around, usually that's where same old Jet starts to pop into play. So I'm glad that we're not sitting here talking about the Corley play, because ultimately when it initially happened, I thought butt fumble times 10. Like, this is going to be a play that's going to not only end the season, but you're going to see this thing on highlight reels every single week, for the next 20, 30 years. So I'm glad that we replaced that with the Garrett highlight, which for me is easily the greatest catch I've seen as a Jet fan, probably the greatest catch in the history of MetLife Stadium for the 14 years that it's been opened. I'm sure we'll have plenty of those debates with Giant fans over the next number of years, but that was just a phenomenal catch. And that was the second one-handed touchdown that he had, which is even crazier. And then you throw in the Devontae Adams touchdown to kind of seal it towards the end. So ultimately a feel-good win. You got 8 sacks. You had 2 from Clemens, 2 from Sherwood. DJ Reed, he came in on a blitz, had another one. Quinnen, I think he had a sack and a half. Reddick had a bunch of pressures. So ultimately, you stepped up, you got the job done. Still got to worry a little bit about just containing quarterbacks, keeping them inside the pocket. That's obviously something that is going to be spotlighted next week against Kyler Murray, who can run a little bit. But you get the win. You're still alive for another week. So I'm not celebrating this because it was clearly an ugly victory. But again, no style points at 3-6 now. So you're still alive another week. You get 10 days to hopefully let Rodgers really actually heal up. I know he said he was feeling better this week, but we'll see what happens at Arizona next week. So talk to you guys then. At least we're alive for another week. And thank you to Grimace who joined the stream. I think that was a big part of the turnaround too. So talk to you guys Monday night.